Yeah, Coach, how are your preparations going for the Chiefs here and the weapons that they present?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fantastic football club. Obviously, the Super Bowl trophies they have in their trophy case right now symbolizes that. And then you watch the film and you can see why they had those Super Bowl trophies. Talent all over the field. Quarterback can do it all. He sees defenses well. Can make all the throws. He can run if he needs to. He can extend the play if he needs to. He's got weapons to throw to. He's got weapons to hand the ball off to, and their O-line protects him really well. This is a top outfit that we're facing.
What do you expect it looks like they got to go with Samaje Perine, a 9-year veteran. What could you describe his play and how he fits into that running attack?
Yeah, they have a few runners that they're going to bring, and they're so well coached, They've had numerous running backs over the years, and they're coached up. They have a great scheme, and when you have Patrick Mahomes back there, and you worry too much about the run, all of a sudden he's going to loosen you up and throw the rock around a little bit. So, whoever they put back there, because it's going to be more than just him, we have to be ready for.
When you study this Andy Reid scheme, what is it that stands out about that's made him so great for so long?
Yeah, tons of respect for Andy Reid. He's done it for a long time. First ballot Hall of Famer, for sure. Coach I respect and watch a lot of. He does a really good job of game planning. He will do the same thing, but it'll be in a different way, in a different formula, so it looks different to the defensive eyes. And he's very creative. I think everybody sees that, even if you're not a big-time football fan. If you just watch a Kansas City Chiefs offense, it looks creative, it looks exciting, and that's what he brings in week and week out. And it's tough to have that type of menu for 17 games plus the playoffs and then repeat it another year. And yet Andy Reid's been able to do it for years. Tons of respect. Great football coach.
I talked a lot, I guess this was yesterday, about playing the second play, and to the point of, you face Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts, now Patrick Mahomes, guys that are known to extend plays and be dangerous doing that. So what can you take from the first two games to now going into this one against arguably one of the best to do this in the game right now?
Yes. So it's a great point. We have had some work out of the first 2 weeks in terms of stopping the initial play, but then Justin Fields, Jalen Hurts being able to extend the play, and now we have to play that second play, which Raheem was referring to. Patrick Mahomes probably does it the best of anybody. If you stop that initial play, he's going to buy time. He's going to slide in the pocket. He's going to move around. He might go to the other side of the field and then go to the other side of the field and then still launch it down there and connect for a 50-yarder. So we have to make sure we play the first play, the second play, and make sure we get a good pass rush so we can get either the ball out of his hands or get Mahomes down on the ground.
So far this season, Mike Hughes has kind of been graded out by PFF as one of the top cornerbacks in the league so far. What has he done well that has stood out to you when you watch him?
Yeah, the first thing right when you said it is his physicality. He's played extremely tough. He's done a fantastic job in the run game. We've sent him on a fair amount of blitzes. It just kind of so happens he has blitzed. AJ has as well, but Mike's been on a few more blitzes than AJ has. His physicality there causing some quarterback hurries and some tackle for losses. And he's just so smart. We can plug him a lot of different places, both corners, left and right, and he can also play the inside and play the nickel position. But what stands out with Mike Hughes is his physicality, his toughness.
Sticking kind of with this idea of using guys in versatile ways, I personally like what y'all did with Caden in week 2, for going from week 1 to week 2. When you were looking at his specific skill set, not just the way he was used last year, but even when he was back with the Saints, what stuck out to you about that versatility and trying to use him in maybe even some looks that he had back in college?
Right. Yeah, we're always trying to accentuate the strengths of every one of our players on the roster. And you mentioned Caden Ellis, and he's a very good off-the-ball linebacker. He's able to read it well, run downhill, run side to side, make tackles, but he's also extremely talented at rushing the passer. And so we want to make sure we give him those opportunities to change the game. And that obviously showed up in a big play in a big way, the last play last Monday night. And you can expect more from that from him. He'll be off the ball, won't be blitzing, will be blitzing, on the line of scrimmage, blitzing, not blitzing. We'll be very creative with him and try to use his strengths.
So, Coach, in addition to P-Ron, y'all expecting some Steele and perhaps Hunt? Is he
correct? That's what I was referring to. Correct. So there's multiple running backs that they can use, and we can't expect any drop off. They've had numerous running backs over the years. They all play at a high level. They're going to get coached up. They're going to be in a really good scheme in front of a great offensive line. And Andy Reid and also Coach Nagy's going to devise a plan to give those guys good looks. And so we got to be ready for anybody who lines up back there and gets the ball handed off to him.
How does Travis Kelce present a unique challenge to defenses?
Yeah, another just a really heady football player. He has these instincts that you can't teach. He has a knack for getting open. I know just as a fan, just watching, in years past, I'm watching, I'm like, why is this guy always open? If you're just watching the TV, it's like 87's open again. He's open. And now you see it when we're going against him, and you can see why. He has a knack for finding open grass, and he has an elite connection with his quarterback, because you can't just do that with any quarterback. Where you're cutting your route off and going somewhere else, and he's expecting you to be somewhere. But he has an elite connection with Mahomes, where they know where he's going to be, and of course he finds them a lot of the time. And so another player that I believe is going to end up being a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the best tight ends in the world, and he'll be an extreme challenge for our defense.
You don't have to get into the minutia of it, but when you have a guy like Travis Kelce, who sometimes his quarterback doesn't even know what the route he's running is going to end up being, what are you sitting there saying to these guys in the secondary or your linebackers to be like, hey, just kind of follow him? Like, what are those conversations like?
Yeah.
I feel like it's very unique in that way.
It is very unique, and Tori, I wouldn't want to give away what we're trying to do to combat that issue, but. It is a unique problem. Most offenses, they're going to run a play and they're going to run that play, and we're going to see it and then we're going to cover it. And there still might be an extension of the play, but they are very unique. And so, without going into what we're going to try to do to disrupt that, we are aware of it. And we know it's a big time problem and an issue, and we'll try to defend it as best we can.
Yeah, you had Judon and Simmons for a little bit over a month now. How have things changed, and how can things continue to evolve with the defense as far as adding those guys into the scheme?
Yeah, it's first of all, I think I said it last week, and I've told them personally, how proud and excited I am that they've picked up on the defense so quickly, and it goes to their study habits, their professionalism for coming in here and just learning it right away, and their fellow teammates helped them out as well. But those guys are playing at a high level right now. They've added physicality. They've added intelligence to our defense. They've also added leadership to our defense. And excited those guys are here. And from game 1 to game 2, saw a big-time improvement, and we're expecting more improvement as the season moves on.
Coach, how has Richie handled everything, with Justin coming in and him, not playing the first week, but being in some packages last week?
Yeah, so excited for Richie. He's played really well for us on special teams. Got some plays last Monday night and excelled in all 10 to 12 plays I believe he received. Made a big-time play in the back of the end zone. Jalen Hurts scrambled around and Richie knocked the ball down, got a nice big-time PBU there. And so he's going to stay ready. He's a pro. And he'll continue to get more reps, beginning with this game and in the future. And you just never know how these things go. He's going to stay ready, which I know he will. He's handled all this like a professional, and we're excited to get him more reps as the season progresses.
through 2 weeks, scoring is way down from what it's been last several years. Passing yards, especially, are
Let's go defense.
because you're getting smarter.
Let's go. Can we get excited? No, I'm sorry. What was that? Sorry.
The defense coordinators are getting smarter. Is it because
Oh.
you're more handsome, or what?
No.
Any ideas?
No. Sorry. I'm just in my bunker. We're just focused on trying to we moved on from Philly, and now we're focused on the Kansas City Chiefs. Not really looking, bird's eye view of the whole league, and I didn't know scoring was down. I didn't know that. I just hope the games that we're playing, our opponent's scoring is down. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm focused on. But I could probably give you a better answer maybe at the end of the season once I see the totality of, how all the offenses and defenses are playing. But hey, one for the defense through week 2.
You a big Taylor Swift fan, Jim?
I am. I mean, a big one. I wouldn't say I know a bunch of details. I love her music. I love how her performances. I haven't been to a concert. I'd love to go to a concert. But yes, it is in my iTunes. Where is this going?
I'm not sure. Wherever
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. No,
you just
yeah.
want to shake it off.
I like that song. It's a great song. Great song.
You'd be starstruck if you see her on Sunday?
I will not see her. I'll be I'll be coaching football.
You might see her on the big screen.
Yeah, I won't be looking at the big screen either. I'll be looking at my play sheet and coaching the players and talking to my coaches. But I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. She's phenomenal. She's an American icon.
Well, why are you laughing at that? She is.
She is.
I don't think he's being sarcastic.
I'm not. I'm being serious.
I heard laughter and I was like, why are we laughing?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite song off the top of your head?
Oh boy. Oh, I would mess up the name of it. There's one album, blank something. There's the blank. That one, that album. I'm gonna mess it up. There we go, 1989. So that album. Thanks for helping me. Like I said, I don't know all the details, but I do have her albums in my iTunes, and I really enjoy that album.
That's one of my favorites.
That's my favorite. There we go. We got something in common. Love that one.
Yeah, how's preparation for the week been going for you?
It's been great. We've been locked in. Obviously, it's a shorter week, so for us, we're just trying to get our game plan going in as fast as possible, so we'll be comfortable for Sunday. But I think we've all been locked in. We've all been executing really well, and obviously we know this is for me it's another game for us, but this is a big game playing against the Super Bowl, the previous Super Bowl champ. So we want to make sure we're doing everything correct to be the best that we can be.
Heard Drake got a cut up on him for the team. Got his blocking. Did they do anything for you with your pass protection?
Nah, heck no.
That's a big one. I mean,
Yeah.
talk about just the pass protecting, was that an emphasis for you in going into the game?
Yeah.
I mean, those are some impressive.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I mean, obviously, like Drake, he does a lot with the run game, and he makes a lot of plays, happen for me, for Tyler, for all of us. He's like another extension of the O-line, so he did a really good job of blocking in that game. But for me, I mean, that's like the standard. Like I have to block no matter what. I gotta help out the tackles. I gotta help out the guards. Like I gotta make sure Kirk doesn't get sacked. So I gotta do so many different things. Obviously with the running in the pass game, but then blocking is another thing that I want to be the best that I can be at too. But yeah, man. I mean, as long as I can make an impact and make a presence with my blocking, then that means I'm doing my job the right way, which is cool.
When you really went back and looked at week 1's rushing yards, 89 total in the rushing yards in the game, and then 109 in the first half against the Eagles, what was the main contributing factor to that you really felt like this unit went and took a step? Was there one specific thing or a couple specific things?
Yeah, I mean, it was the O-line. Chris, Caleb, Drew, Burge, and, freaking missing one more. Who am I missing? Jake. The main one, Jake. Those 5 guys, and then obviously Charlie and Kyle and, Mooney and Ray and Drake, like all of them, what they did from week 1 to week 2 was completely different. Obviously with week 1, like we haven't played with each other yet, and we haven't played a preseason yet. So, those are like bullets firing all over the place, and we had to just like buckle down and get used to it. But then now going into week 2, we had a different mindset. And all of those guys just, were doing amazing. But the O-line was just moving everybody. They didn't have a chance from the first snap. Like, they knew what time it was. I knew what time it was. And when they're doing their job right, then I just get to just go, like, let, my God-given ability show on the field. And, that's what we did. But we want to keep improving off of that every single week. And we want to, establish that, trying to be the best run team in the NFL.
You brought up Chris Lindstrom right off the bat, and I went back and watched almost all of your runs from Monday, and a lot of success came from running behind Chris and Chris's ability to get to the second level. And
yeah.
I'm just kind of curious from your perspective. I know everybody talks about Chris being, one of the best guards in the league from a pass protection standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
What does he provide this unit in run blocking?
Well, I think, personally, I think Chris is like the best guard in the NFL because, like, he does a lot of little things in the run game that people don't see, and obviously people are starting to see it. But just how he cuts and how he, like, gets to the second level, but just how athletic he is, and when he has to pull or whatever we ask him to do in the run game, like, he just makes it happen. But he makes it happen at such a high level, and I mean, I just tell him before every game, I'm like, bro, like, if I get a ball to your side, like, best believe I'm finding you and I'm running behind you. But man, Chris and Caleb, like, how they control the right side of the O-line, and even with Drew being an extension of them, like, they do obviously an amazing job, and that's why Chris, is who he is. But you would never think that, like, he's the best guard in the NFL because he's just so humble. Even during the games, like, he's just such a nice guy. Obviously, he'll do what he do on the sideline, but he doesn't really talk smack to nobody. He just does his job and then goes back to the sideline. But yeah, he's amazing, man.
Looking at the offense as a whole last week, how much more indicative was last week? Just that much more indicative of what this offense is capable of doing this year.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously people saw what we can be, and obviously what we want to be from last week going forward. And I think Zach got comfortable too, and just calling plays and seeing the field and seeing the speed of the game and what we're comfortable with and what we're used to now. But I mean, when we're all just on the right track, on the right page, and doing things the right way, then that's the kind of production that we put out. And I think that was just the beginning of the standard. Like, I think we can do so much more, so much better. And that's just because I have high expectations for the offense, for this team. But what we did on Monday was awesome. But I think we have so much more in the tank, and we can, do something that, something incredibly special, for this season.
Is the momentum of doing that in primetime on that stage does the timing work out well, bringing it right into another primetime game this week?
I mean, it does, because obviously with the primetime games, like, a lot of people watch you and a lot of people see you. But, I think that should be the standard every game, primetime or not. But definitely, like, going into this one, like, we want to, show the same thing, but, to show it at an even higher level than what we did last week.
A lot of teammates have sort of said that win was a big building block in terms of, like, communication, building rapport. What do you think you can build in this next one?
Well, definitely the same thing, building, confidence in each other. And, some of the mistakes that we had last week, like, we want to eliminate those mistakes. We want to be just more efficient on, some of the, like, even with me, trying to be more efficient on some of the runs, break more tackles. Like, I think I could have broke some more tackles during the game. I think even in the past game, like, trying to just be alert with the offensive line and communication. But I think the biggest thing is communication with us, because when we communicate on the right level, like, then we're playing at our best, and we're playing effectively and not thinking too much. So I think it's definitely communication with this week.
Kirk apparently was texting Zach on the plane and watching the film, like, oh, I should have done this better and I should have done that better. Are you kind of the same way, where you just kind of mentioned, like, oh, I should have done this better? Like, how does that help players at that level when you're that hard on yourself, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's just because, like, we're competitors and we want to make, we want to be the best that we can be. And, it doesn't matter, like, how good of a performance you have, you still have mistakes during the game. and they could be really big mistakes, and you don't want to put those on film, like going forward, because that could be a liability, and teams can see that, and that could be the difference maker. So, I mean, on the plane, I was knocked out, so like, that's all Kirk is at. No. But definitely like that next day, I'm locked into what I have to do to make those mistakes better, and then we'll go from there. But yeah, we're always trying to trying to get better in those little areas, so we can make it that much better for the next game.
I feel like everybody to a man that we talked to these last couple of days talked about, just kind of, again, like you want to flush losses, but like also kind of flushing the win. And it's a new, clean slate. How is Kirk, how have you kind of observed how he's kind of led the players, and especially the offensive players, in that, and just kind of, getting back to business?
Yeah, I mean, Kirk's been playing in the NFL for like a long time, so he's used to, the highs of wins and the losses too. And obviously we're young on offense, so we need a guy like that to always like bring us back down, and especially off of a great win like that, you gotta let that go. And for me, like, it was cool to celebrate it that day, but then we got the Chiefs coming up, and they don't care about what we just did last week, and they're not going to care when we get there on Sunday. So just having a guy like him and having a vet that's been in there for a long time, like it always helps us.
Your first one in a football game, how's the recovery process adjusted for you? How have you adjusted to that?
Yeah, I mean, my body is like now back to normal. We didn't have the extra day that we have like on Mondays, but I think it's pretty much back. But then it's the preparation part where you got to like speed it up a little bit. That's the only thing we got to get used to.
What was kind of the biggest difference? Was it sleep? Was it just your body feels a little different playing at night?
Yeah, well, we didn't get back to like 4 a.m. So I woke up at 7 a.m. So like I had to like make sure I was kind of taking a nap during the day to get my body back. But it's probably just the time difference and us playing at a late game and getting back super early, and then having to like go back to it the next day.
Bit of a technical question, but as a running back, is there any difference in like the technique or the process you're going through when you're running outside zone out of the pistol versus when the quarterback's under center, or is it basically the exact same in the way that you kind of read how the blocks are setting up?
It's the same. Like I'm reading the same thing, and I have reads that I have to read pre-snap, whether it's a linebacker or a DN, or if the safety's down low, or anything like that. But it's definitely the same. It might not be the same structurally because we can do so many other things in different types of formations. But when it comes to outside zone, like I got the same reads, and I gotta make Jake and Caleb and the O-line. I gotta make those guys right on every single run that I do get the ball.
Bijan, Coach Rob talked about just how much of an integral part of beast mode Drake and other receivers have been in the blocking scheme,
Yeah.
the run game.
Yep.
How's that been for you?
I mean, for me, it's been amazing. Just because like having those guys, when you have receivers that can block downfield, it makes a difference in the offense. Because obviously, if you don't have receivers that will block, then you gotta do more as a running back. I gotta make somebody else miss. But then, with Drake and Mooney and like Ray, people try to underestimate Ray, but he be coming in and hitting people. But having those guys like blocking and like have pride in it, and not just do it just because they have to, but like actually like love to do it, and they'll even come back to the huddle and be like, you see that block? And I'm like, bro, like I was right behind you. Like, I saw it. But yeah, like having them have that energy and just that love for it, like it's always fun to be around them.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. Doing good. Having a great week of practice. Guys been doing a great job with this week of prep. Another big opportunity this week come Sunday night versus the defending Super Bowl champs. So our guys are fired up. I'm fired up. Guys have been doing a great job of prep. So open it up to any questions.
I guess I'll start. You guys at the end of the game on Sunday, the penalty on Drake, and you got pushed back. How confident are you in Koo in those spots where it's a 48-yard extra point and you need that point to win the game?
I'm very confident in Koo. Unfortunately, we didn't want that to happen, but it was on to the next play, and we had an opportunity as a field goal unit to go out there and, take the lead. So I give a lot of credit not only to, Koo, our specialist. Liam did a great job making sure that everybody was locked in. Bradley does a great job with the operation to hold. He's kind of like Koo's caddy when he's out there talking about the flight line of the ball, where we want to hit it, the line where we're hitting towards the field goal post, and then our field goal protection. You talk about Burge, Jake, Ryan Newsel, Chris Lindstrom, Caleb McGarry, Kyle Hinton, all those guys. You got Storm on the edge protecting the wing, and then Charlie Warner. All those guys did a phenomenal job all game versus a very physical and aggressive field goal block unit. So I have a lot of credit to those guys being locked into the situation, and then also too Koo being process driven. Those guys do a great job just being locked in, and that kick is no different than us kicking a PAT or kicking a ball inside the 10-yard line. It's all about our operation, our mindset, and we do have understanding of the situation, but we don't let the situation take over our effort, our attitude, and our technique.
I guess how would you assess just in general special teams the last 2 games, and what are things to work on, what are things that are going well?
Well, there's a lot of things we have to work on. Unfortunately, we had a penalty in each game. Those are things that we could clean up. And the first game is subjective, how they call that one. And then this last game with JD, just being in the position to where if he wins early in the down, he doesn't put himself in that position, because we ended up losing yards and our offense started with the ball at the 14-yard line. Luckily, we got points out of it. So cleaning up those things, I think our guys are doing a better job from game 1 to game 2 in coverage. We're continuing to work on that and improve. And in any opportunity we could gain first downs in the return game is critical for us. I thought Avery's been doing a great job of decision making, and our guys on the perimeter are doing a better job of blocking. And we talk about the return game. It's not just that ball carrier that's the playmaker. It's those other 10 guys. So I think overall we have a lot of things to improve on. I'm proud of our guys being situation aware, though, Mark, because that situation in the third quarter where they try to shift into a field goal, like a field goal shift, we burn a timeout. We don't have that timeout towards the end of the game in that 4-minute situation for our defense. Or we jump off sides on a 4th and 3 situation at the 6, which is half the distance, and it's a first down. That could be a 4-point swing. So I'm proud of those guys being situationally aware, being locked in to where now we just limit them to 3 points. So those guys are getting better situationally, and we have a lot of room to improve when it comes to our technique and just being able to be an attribute and a big asset for our offense and defense.
Now with 2 full weeks of tape to look at, what have you learned about the kickoff rule?
I've learned quite a bit, but also, too, I'm still learning. I feel like I still have to learn quite a bit. It's all based on the different teams that you're playing against. I think you're just starting the season with a blank canvas of stuff. Like you can't limit yourself when it comes to play design, what your players can do, what your kickers can do, what your returners can run, how you can line up. So there's a lot of different things, and right now we're just been watching a lot of film, just trying to understand how we could affect the game in a positive manner when it comes to kickoff and kickoff return and help with field position, because I think that field position thing is real. You get a touchback or you receive a touchback, and let's say we gain a first down to drive. If you gain a first down, that ball's around the logo area. Now let's say you do have to punt, you're pinning them back, and now they got to play behind the 8 ball. Or vice versa, if we go to kick off and we kick a touchback, or they get the ball around the 30 or 32 and they drive, and then they end up punting the ball, now we're playing behind the 8 ball. So those little things, working on the situations, it's not just actually the play, it's what happens after the play and how it affects the game. You look at this last game, there was only 4 punts total in the entire game, and they all happened in the first half. So there's a lot more times where teams are going for it, or you're getting yourself in field goal range. So I think field goals have been up the first 2 weeks in the NFL season, more so than it has been prior years. And I think the field position game, when it comes to the kickoff return, is a big attribute to it.
Has it gone how you expected?
I didn't really have expectations. It's still an unknown. I'm just we as an organization, we as a team, our players, myself included, we're just embracing it. And each and every week, it's a different situation, it's a different game plan, and we're going to do what's best to help our team win games, put our offense in the best field position, and put our defense in the best field position, and eliminate those ball carriers that are back there, whether we're hitting touchbacks, whether we're going downfield covering and creating manageable space, or attacking the football to try to create an extra possession.
What have you seen out of Avery? Obviously, he didn't get any playtime last year with the injury.
On the field or off the field, or overall?
Yeah, just overall.
Overall, I mean, he is he's one of one. I think he's very intelligent. He's very situationally aware, emotionally intelligent. Going through that situation last year, it was hard on him because he just came off a really good season, really great season, led the NFL in punt return yards, and he was a five-phase starter for us. And he's building himself, and he is a leader on that special teams unit. And then to be out last year, it was hard on him. But I think one of the best things that happened was he got the opportunity to not limit himself. Just because you're not playing, it didn't stop him from getting better as an individual. And I firmly believe he did get better as a person and as a player, even though he wasn't on the field. So I think, with him spending time with the team, being in my office, traveling with the team, he picked up a bigger knowledge of the game, and he's grown a lot. And I'm excited that he's back out there with us, and he's continuing to do great things. And I think his best days and his best games are yet to come.
And Tyler Algier, I think, is playing 36% of special team snaps, and that was more than even his rookie year. What's the plan for him?
For us, Tyler, us as an organization, as a coaching staff, we don't limit our players. People forget Tyler's redshirt freshman year, I believe he was a linebacker. He went there as a running back, then moved to linebacker, then moved back to running back. So our players that play on special teams, you could be an offensive player, but once you're on special teams, you're just a football player. You got to block, get off blocks, tackle, carry the ball, all those different types of things. So we see Tyler as a football player, and any way he can help us because he's strong, he's fast, he's smart, he can play well in space, he's physical. He has all the attributes to be a dynamic special teams player. And how we look at it is if a team is, let's say if we're on offense or on defense, and the defense is out there and the offense decides to stay out there, it's a gotta-have-it situation. And we expect our defense to give great effort. So if a team decides to punt, it's still a gotta-have-it situation. Just so happen we're getting the ball. So we expect that same type of great effort from our players. And Tyler, he did a phenomenal job. We were going against Brendan Covey last week, who led the NFL in punt return yards. He's the one, even though Troy made the tackle and almost forced a fumble, Tyler was the one that set the edge and leveraged it back into Troy to make the play. So I see him as just a really good football player. Just so happened he plays running back. That's his position on offense. But he can help us in multiple roles on special teams.
What advantages does he have as a blocker?
Oh, man, he's strong. He has good body position, good pad level. He's quick with his feet. I think blocking is all about your eyes, hands, and your feet. So he does a great job with all three, and he cares. He's a great teammate. He's very selfless when it comes to that. I think one of the biggest attributes of being a blocker is being selfless. That's why the old line is a rare position to play. That's why in the return game, our other 10 guys blocking, those are rare positions to play because you have to be selfless because you don't have the ball. You don't get all the glory for what you're doing because the result may be a touchdown by that ball carrier. But those guys understand the big picture and the intent, and Tyler's one of those guys.
Maybe that's a question he'd be able to answer better, but I'm just curious, as a running back, do you think he's able to understand blocking technique a little bit more because he's seeing how people are doing that for him right in front of him?
There is something to that. And same thing with Avery. There is something to that because you don't really have eyes behind your head, but it's being able to see that full picture. As a ball carrier, everybody's in front of you and you're hitting certain lanes, you're manipulating coverage and blocks to get to certain spots. So yes, as a blocker, if you have ball carrying experience, that can help you. To have to understand the intent and how the defense or the coverage units flow to do those type of things.
I think we kind of talked about it last year about Koo's ability to come in clutch moments and walk the game off in a way. But can you kind of speak to not just Koo, but Bradley and Liam as well, and how those three stay composed during those moments to win the game?
Yes, I think it's I say for those guys, Taylor, it's their mindset. It's our daily approach that we do, the film study, how we go about our business on the field. We spend a lot of time together. And I will say that the next thing would be they hold each other accountable. Whether the kick goes through the uprights or it doesn't, there's conversations that we have and we talk about it. Just because the ball went through the uprights doesn't mean it was a great operation. So we don't live in the results. We get really focused on the present and in the process. And those guys, they talk to each other. If Liam doesn't have an A+ snap, Bradley will let him know, hey, this is – and also, too, they know each other. So it's not like, hey, you didn't have a good snap. They know how to approach each other in certain situations. They know how everybody's personality is different. Ku's different than Bradley. Bradley's different than Liam. They're all three different. But it's so cool having football as a platform to see how they all strive for the common goal and they work as one when it comes to our operation on field goal. So it's a big credit to their mindset. It's a big credit to them understanding that it's not just about them. It's about the whole entire team and our operation. And Bradley and Liam will be the first one to give Ku all the credit, but Ku, the same thing, will give those guys all the credit. And I love that about our room, and we're very open to anything and everything.
Coach, obviously, week to week, you guys game plan and make adjustments in part based off your opponent.
Yes, sir.
You guys are getting ready to go in against the Kansas City Chiefs team this coming Sunday. What are some of your keys, special team-wise, going into this game? What are some of the things you guys are keying on?
Well, it starts, you have a really good coordinator, Dave Tobe, has been doing it for a while. He does a great job with his units. They do a great job putting points on the board, whether they're getting explosive returns to set up their offense, or when you talk about their field goal operation, Harrison Buckner does a great job of putting the ball through the uprights. They have dynamic players all over the place. I think one of their better players, just watching their film, and he shows up a lot, is number 2, Josh Williams. He's a really good dynamic gunner on the perimeter, and we have to do a great job of slowing him down to gain some first downs in the return game. They have multiple players all throughout the board when it comes to, you got Miko Harmon as the returner. You got Steele as one of the other returners. If they want to put Worthy back there, Xavier Worthy, he's a dynamic player coming out of Texas. And I believe he has one on his career as a punt return for a touchdown. So I think he has those guys. Dave Tope has those guys ready each and every week. And they're a big compliment to what they do on offense and defense, because they're good on offense and defense, and especially good on special teams.
What was your celebration like Monday night?
Monday night, are you talking about like after the game? Well, it was just fun just to see, our players throughout the entire game, they stayed even keeled. They believed that we're going to win. They were unwavered by anything. And it starts with our head coach, Coach Morris. He sets the tone for the team and how we operate in practice, in the meetings, in game, and you can see it. I think players are representations of their coaches, and we have a phenomenal head coach. So that was awesome to see, just seeing those guys believe, and throughout all the way until the final whistle, they did a great job of believing, and they were there for each other. Nobody pointing the finger, and it was truly complimentary football. And then after the game, it was just fun just to celebrate with the players. I mean, they work so hard for those opportunities. Those are days and nights that you dream about as a little kid. And then for you to have those opportunities to play on Monday night in a hostile environment, playing versus a really great team, and to come out victorious was awesome. So we still have a lot of work to be done, but that was cool, and it was turn the page really quick to get ready on a shorter week for Kansas City.
Yeah, Coach, how's Richie doing on special teams? He said he's just trying to keep preparing like he's a starter, but he's also working with you all.
Oh, for sure. Richie, I don't know if you remember, but D-Led, his rookie year, he was the first safety taken out of the draft, but he was a 5-phase starter for us on special teams his rookie year. And then the last 2 years he started on defense, he still played on 3 phases. And he's been an impactful player for us, whether you talk about him making plays, making tackles, blocking punts. He's always been disruptive and effective for us. And he's a veteran in our room, and he's great for the younger players when it comes to experience, advice, how to practice, how to prepare. I love working with Richie, and he's a phenomenal football player. And it shows up each and every day when you're on the field with him, when you're in the meeting room, and then in games. He's very reliable, and he does a great job for us on special teams. He was part of the reason why that helped us on that 4th down play where they tried to shift to the field goal formation. He did a great job making sure we're properly aligned along with Avery Williams and Micah and those guys, so we didn't have to burn a timeout and put ourselves in a position where we're behind the 8 ball when it comes to the end of the 4th quarter.
And my guys that watched most of the game said that Squibb kicking it through the end zone gets the ball on the 20, and that might be the best way to go. I think Dallas is doing that.
There's a couple of teams that done it. Right now we're calling that a minor touchback. There's a major touchback and a minor touchback. So, you have, basically 2 different types. If you kick it and it goes into the end zone, and let's say you caught it or it goes out of bounds, you have to catch it. You can't just let it be there or it's live. But if you catch it in the end zone or if it gets kicked through the back of the end zone, teams get the ball to 30. But if you hit it into the landing zone and then it rolls into the end zone, and let's say it rolls into the end zone, you don't want to take it out as a returner. You take a knee, offense gets the ball to 20. or it hits it inside like the 5 and then it rolls out the back of the end zone. They still get at the 20. So there's 2 different types of touchbacks that you could get. And obviously you don't want to kick it short of the 20 or else we're giving the opponent the ball at the 40-yard line. So, I mean, there's various different kicks, but it all depends on the kicker, depends on the returner, depends on the return team's alignment, where they're putting their returners at, and how can you maximize that to win field position.
Try to start at the 20 is better than the 30, though.
Yes. Yes, it is. So we can't really call it a squib because the squib kick would be like, we're kicking from the 35-yard line, what you do. That ball usually hits around a little bit past the 50-yard line. So if we did that, that's a squib kick. There's no more squib kicks in this game anymore because as soon as that happens, they blow the whistle dead, they get the ball to 40. So it's just lower hang time kicks. Yeah. So you want to hit lower kicks, but you don't want to hit the coverage team that's down there already, 25 yards down. Because if I were to kick it, if I were to kick it, D-Led, and a player raised his hand and it hit his arm, 40-yard line. So there's a lot of different things. So going back to what Taryn, there's a lot of unknowns with this play, but we're continue to work on it, figure it out, and put our offense and defense in the best position possible each and every week.
How long did it take for the excitement of Monday to wear off?
Probably when I got home. Yeah, so around like 3, 4 in the morning. I just wanted to go to sleep. That's pretty much it.
Did you sleep on the plane?
Mm-mm.
Still buzzing too much?
Yeah, I can't really sleep on planes anyways. So I was just up and I was hungry too, so that didn't really work too well.
When you look at this Kansas City defense, what's the biggest thing that stands out to you first?
They execute really, really well in their plays. Nothing really too fancy, but at the same time, everybody knows their roles and their job, and they got exceptional players over there. So it should be a good battle.
Drake, what allowed you to get going between weeks 1 and week 2?
Just finding our identity as an offense and seeing what truly works for us, and just the flow of the game. It was a different defense. And just a different group of guys out there, so their philosophy is a little bit different than others. So,
Kirk said you guys, really have to build on what happened on Monday night for it to, be worth anything. What does that look like for you in particular going into this week?
Washed last week out. It doesn't really matter what happened last week, and just keep on going forward and progressing, and try to be the best version of myself for the team.
When you look at how the ball was distributed last week, is that more of an ideal situation rather than week 1?
Most definitely. And that's just how the game goes. We could either run it a lot or we could pass it a lot, and we could get a lot of people involved with touching the ball. So I think it was a huge plus for us, and just to be able to see that in real game time, everybody touching the ball and contributing was big.
Did you go back and watch Mooney's front flip? Because I know in the locker room afterward he said you hadn't.
Yeah, I watched it. He pistol squat landed it, which was weird, but yeah, very, very athletic.
How excited were for you in that moment to get his touchdown?
For him to get his touch, I was ecstatic, especially too on the DB he did it on. So I was very, very happy about that.
Not to discredit your route running, but how surprised were you to see you that wide open on a final play game?
Honestly, it's a concept that we've been running a lot. I've put that on film, at least at practice, a lot, and a lot of those routes ended up the same way. So I wouldn't say surprised. I was just more so worried about catching the ball. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
I know you're on a different spot on the field, but to see Bijan doing what he was doing, especially in pass protection, I don't know how much of that you caught on the film, but to see how well-rounded of a back he's becoming here in his second season, does that excite you guys on the offense to see all the things that he does besides just running the ball?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, it excites us. It's really, really good for the team, but at the same time, we expect nothing less from him. He is Bijan, and he's one of probably the better backs in the league. In my opinion, he is. So for him to go around and do that all the way around, from blocking to running the ball to catching the ball, making explosive plays when sometimes they're not there, that's who we expect him to be, and he is that.
Your blocking was applauded this week from the last game, too. How much of an emphasis are you putting on that aspect of your game this season to improve?
I think it's been an emphasis since I've started playing football. No block, no rock is kind of the motto that I've been told from a lot of coaches just coming up, even my first years here. So week one, I kind of lost myself a little bit and wasn't really straining as much as I should have to spring certain runs. So I took that upon myself in this week, and moving forward, I will definitely block my tail off.
How exciting is it as an organization to have the first primetime game in the Benz since I think it's 2021, also against the reigning Super Bowl champions, like a double whammy in one night?
It's amazing. Again, this is another step for us to build and to keep on going in the right direction, and I'm excited to get to Sunday and definitely play in primetime.
But Taryn said, how do you not let this moment and this team and Sunday Night Football kind of get too big and just focusing on football and the game at hand?
Honestly, I think we're going to view it as Monday Night Football. It's just another game. Times may be a little different. You may have a lot of free time in the beginning of the day, but we're not going to view it any different as going out there on the practice field or going out there in the game and working our tails off to get the win. So I don't think there's really going to be too much different of what's going on, team we're playing and whatever it is.
Do you like having that extra time, or do you get antsy?
I hate it. It's terrible because you wake up and then you could go back to sleep and then you still have time. I don't like it.
At least a little better than Monday night, waiting around all day on Monday with no football.
Yeah, and then the quick turnaround is a lot too. So Sunday night prime time is a little bit better, but I wish prime time was 1 o'clock, 1 p.m. I like that. Get home around like 5, 6, enjoy dinner, and go to sleep on time. It's great.
What would a win Sunday nights, 2 primetime victories back-to-back, what kind of statement would that make?
Yeah, I think it would be a huge statement, but again, I don't think we're expecting anything less right now. Our goal is to win, and is to win every game that we go into. So it'll be a huge statement, but again, we expect nothing less.
Do the juices flow a little differently for a primetime game?
I mean, I guess you could say that, but again, we try to approach it all the same. But again, all eyes are on you at that moment. So yeah, your adrenaline is probably naturally going to be up.
To add a little extra oomph to Sunday, Arthur Blank's going into the Ring of Honor. Just what, I know you're young there.
Yeah.
What does he mean to this organization in your eyes?
I mean, from day one since I stepped in here, this is my personal thoughts on him. I mean, he's a total players person, like coaches too as well. And then, I mean, you see what he does at the stadium with pricing of food and stuff like that. All around Atlanta, really. And he encouraged us to go out there and give back to the community. So, I mean, I could only imagine what he was like in his younger days and who he was and what he meant to a lot of people. And for him to come in here, especially when I was here earlier, just to be the person that he is, just the humble guy he is, it means a lot. So he deserves every single bit of getting into the Ring of Honor for sure.
Did you hear about all the hot dogs on Sunday?
A little bit, not really.
2 for every customer for free.
2 glizzy.
Per trip.
2 per trip
to the
up to the
concession.
concession.
You could go up and get 2 multiple times.
Oh, that's a lot of hot dogs. That's a lot.
Like, what challenge do they represent?
Chris Jones is probably the best defensive tackle in the NFL, and I think he's probably one of the best pass rushers regardless of position. And, besides him, they have a fantastic front, and they play really hard, really well disciplined, have really, really well coached with a great defensive coordinator. So across the board, we have a great challenge, and those guys, they play at a high level and play with a lot of effort.
What felt more comfortable from week 1 to week 2 offensively?
I think just I don't know. You just go out there and work with the guys, and it was a hostile situation, but we have tons of reps of working under silent, and have somebody like Kirk back there who can operate the way he does makes it a lot easier for us, and makes it really smooth and easy for us.
I think I want to talk about like using that as a win block. How do you think a win like that can help propel you into this big game?
I think each week's independent. I think last week was awesome, and it was great to get the win. But in the same sense, you need to turn the page and focus into Kansas City. And so I think last week's win, all that does is reassure you in all the efforts and work that you've put in. But in the same sense, you have to turn the page, and there's a enormous challenge ahead of us this week.
A couple of days counting down to the next big one, man.
Mm-hmm.
How you feeling?
Good. I mean, just turning the page, and it's the beauty of the NFL is just you celebrate that moment, and then you got to flush and you got to go on to the Chiefs, and they're a fantastic opponent. So, this week coming up, it's a shorter week, but you have to still get all your installs and everything in, and so just really focusing in on the preparation aspects.
I know week to week with each team, different teams have different things that they do well, so you guys kind of game plan as you go in. What are some of the things you guys are keying on understanding this defensive front you're about to face?
They play with great effort across the board and are really well coached in a physical defense. So it's going to be a really, really big challenge for us. And then they're fantastic pass rushers across the board. So it's another big challenge in that. And so when they have everybody is in unison playing with great effort, it's a big challenge.
Got it. So you guys ground last week, man, when it came to the running game. Y'all really made some noise, man. You guys, looking at building upon that moving forward.
Yeah, I think so. I think it just gives us confidence in what we do and what we want to be about and the style that we want to play. And then, the Chiefs are a great front, and so we have to really lock into the details of the run game, make sure we're all going on the same page, and that's the biggest thing. If we're able to communicate and be on the right track, that gives us our best opportunities to have success.
So I think it was 2019 since the last time the Falcons had a Sunday night game. Do you remember that? Remember what that was?
Yeah, that was the second game of my career. I was hurt, but I remember watching. It was actually against the Eagles. That was the last time. Last time we had Sunday Night Football.
So how you feeling about doing another Sunday night game this coming Sunday?
Oh, it's exciting. You have these primetime football games, and there's nothing better. You're the only thing on TV, and so you definitely want to put your best foot forward. And I think really the environment that you get to play in, I'm expecting Mercedes-Benz to be rocking, so it's going to be a fun atmosphere.